Women and children! This way! Women and children!
Head for that ship on the horizon. Transfer your passengers and tell their captain to come at once. Require urgent.
Surely they can see our rockets, sir.
If they can, they are not responding. As quickly as you can.
Aye, aye, sir.
Quickly now! Women and children!
Quickly! The boats are leaving!
Daddy, where are we going?
Shh, love, we're going on a little adventure. We'll be back soon.
Over here. Let's try this one.
I'm afraid it's women and children only, sir.
Please, sir, can't you see my wife needs help with the children?
Sorry, sir. Captain's orders.
What's the meaning of this? Is this a drill?
Only a precaution, sir. Everyone will be back aboard in good time.
John, I can't manage without you. I need you.
We'll just have to for now.
But
Don't worry, Marie. I'll get on another boat. You go ahead with the children.
Daddy, I don't want to go without you.
John, I don't see any men boarding lifeboats.
I'm sure there's other boats further down letting men board. Right, David, help your mother and sister board.
Yes, Dad.
I'm sorry, sir. Women and children only.
For God's
just
sake,
a
he's
boy.
just a boy.
What age is he?
He's only 16.
He'll have to stay on board with the other men.
God's sake.
Do something, John.
Is there nothing you can do? My wife can't manage alone.
I'm afraid not, sir. Captain's orders.
Hey, the officers are letting the boys leave on the other side. You must hurry.
Thanks, Fred. Marie, take the baby. Look after Emily. We'll get on another boat. Emily, Daddy loves you very much. Be good for your mother and sister. We'll see you again soon.
Daddy, don't go. You have to come with us. We won't be able to find you.
Shush now, love. You're going on the boat with your mum and your sister. We'll be along shortly, I promise.
Daddy, I don't want to go.
Women and children.
Go straight to the next
Leave
boat.
it. Hurry.
Do what you
This way,
must to
please.
get aboard. Do you understand?
I will, ma'am, I will. Don't worry.
Mind him, John.
Right, Emily. Time to go. Be brave.
No.
Here.
No, Daddy,
Emily, go.
please.
You have
I
to
want
go with your mother.
you.
Go.
Please let me go with
No.
you. Dad,
We'll be all right.
Please.
Be good, child. We'll see you soon.
We'll head straight for another boat.
Women and children. Final call.
Right, it's time to go.
No. No. I want my daddy. No.
Ready the ropes.
Bye. Bye, Emily. Bye, Marie.
Roll it away.
Daddy.
There, sweetheart. They'll be fine.
Thank you.
My daughter was the same growing up. Father's favorite.
Do you believe there's any real danger?
Oh no, dear. I saw men locking the watertight doors as I left my cabin. I'm sure we will be back on board soon.
Hey! How do we get to the lifeboats?
We can't get up on the deck!
Oh dear.
Do the steerage have their own boats?
I don't know. There should be boats in the third-class decks, but I haven't seen any.
Surely there must be extra boats kept elsewhere. Otherwise, how can all the passengers leave the ship?
How's your ankle, Helen? You took quite a tumble boarding the boat.
Swollen. I think it may be broken.
Oh dear. When we get back on board, Dr. Locken can look over it. At least this could make an interesting story for your next novel.
Yes, well, perhaps this type of adventure novel would best suit Colonel Gracie.
Oh, I do hope Father is safe. Surely he'd be safer on board the Titanic than here in this boat. Yes, well, this is not quite the ending to our adventure that I was expecting. Do you remember Father's face when we arrived?
Steady forward and lower away astern.
Steady forward. Lower together, men.
Hold off! I can't manage this boat with only one seaman.
Are there any sailors aboard? Present yourselves. This boat needs another hand. I am a yachtsman, sir. I can row. If you're seaman enough to get onto that boat, you can go. Swing over that loose rope.
Ready?
Oh my goodness.
There, by the oarlock.
Thank you.
Ready! Lower away!
Lower together.
It's so dreadfully cold tonight.
Almost there, Mother.
How long must we sit in this boat?
Till morning. Be glad you're in here and not up there.
I wasn't a pleasant man.
Mass was lovely this morning.
How nice the captain attended.
Yes, this is his last journey commanding a ship.
Such a beautiful ship to retire with.
There was a planned lifeboat drill this morning. Postponed it so the captain could attend mass instead.
Oh, perhaps that explains why the sailors on the deck seemed almost unprepared when lowering this lifeboat.
And why our lifeboat has only 3 sailors.
Yes, this whole affair's been managed rather badly. I shall be making a complaint when we come aboard Titanic.
Help! I'm trapped! Help! Help!
Mommy, I'm scared.
Shh, it'll be fine.
Get ready to release the ropes.
Aye, aye, sir.
There's water coming in!
Get that plug in! The boat will founder!
I have it.
You there! Stand on that plug! Make sure it doesn't come out!
Well, I never.
Man the oars! We need to leave this ship! Our suction will pull us under! Pull! Hurry, damn you!
Where are we heading?
Towards the lights on the horizon, just off the port bow.
Pull! Put your backs into it!
We can help row.
No! The men will row!
I can steer the rudder, so you can row?
No, you will not! Sit down!
Look, child. Look what I have here. He's friendly. He won't bite. Would you like to hold him?
He's so soft.
Can you look after him for me? While we're on this boat?
Yes, Mum.
I should have stayed on deck with Krieg.
No, it was good of you to join us in the boat.
Quake wouldn't have allowed you to stay on deck.
I'm sure we will be back on deck shortly. Never mind that sailor.
And what if there is real danger?
There can't be. The captain said so himself. This is just a precaution.
This fog on the horizon and no moonlight.
Yes, it's hard to see anything tonight.
I doubt the other ship will even see us approach.
Ma'am, can you hold this, please?
Ah, much better. Thank you.
Let's hope they see us.
It looks like some boats don't have their lanterns lit.
And all the stars. The sky is beautiful.
Look at them all around. Are there any supplies in this boat?
There's nothing. No water, no bread, no compass.
Any blankets?
I don't see any.
There are a few here.
Yes, some here too.
A stowaway! Oh, officer! Officer, look!
Sorry. So sorry. I can't swim.
Coward! Get over there and start rowing.
I can't. I broke my arm. That's why I can't swim. Please, please, sir. Please stay. I'm begging you. I don't stand a chance up there.
Sit down then. You're lucky I haven't thrown you overboard.
Here you are.
Thank you. Here you are, madame.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you. It must be below freezing.
Thanks.
Best we keep that baby warm.
Thank you. Are you warm enough, Emily?
Yes, Mum.
Such a precious child. They are always so beautiful at that age. Do you have children yourself? Yes, my daughter is at our home in New York.
I wonder if the others made it to the boats.
I hope they did. The boats must be all in the water by now.
Do you have family on board?
No. Our colleagues in the a la carte restaurant.
We were allowed to go up to the boats, but the men are being held in the second-class dining hall.
Oh, that's dreadful. Why aren't they allowed up to the boats?
They have to wait until all the passengers have left the ship.
I did see Mr. Morget on deck, and the head chef. So they might have been let up early.
Oh, I hope so. The ship is listing quite badly now.
The lights don't seem to be getting closer.
Perhaps they're just reflections on the water.
No, they're definitely lights from another ship. We were signaling them earlier.
They look like stars to me.
Keep rowing towards the lights. Captain's orders.
You should assist us rowing. Allow one of the women to steer the boat. It's a perfectly calm night.
You row, sir. I will remain in command of this boat.
The women should be allowed to row.
No!
Rowing will keep us warm, and we'll reach that ship in half the time.
I agree. The movement will warm us.
I am in charge of this boat. The women are not to row.
Oh my. Look at the angle of our ship.
But it's unsinkable. Surely?
She'll sink.
But the watertight doors should keep her afloat.
We only glanced the iceberg. Surely she isn't that damaged?
She'll founder. It's just a matter of time.
What about those naughty lifeboats?
Welcome to the Titanic VR guided tour. We are currently 3.8 kilometres below the surface of the North Atlantic and 100 metres east of the bow. This submersible is on autopilot. However, you can adjust your spotlight using the far left lever. Please keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. I'll provide you with information about locations as we pass them, so please sit back, relax and enjoy the ride.
The RMS Titanic was the second White Star Line Olympic-class ocean liner, the first being RMS Olympic and the third being HMHS Britannic. She was 269 metres long, 28 metres wide and 72 metres tall from the bottom of her keel to the top of her masts. At 46,328 tonnes, she was the largest ship built at the time, being only slightly bigger than Olympic. She would be servicing the transatlantic route, a journey from Southampton, England to New York, USA. She stops at Cherbourg, France and Queenstown, Ireland. After departing Queenstown on the afternoon of Thursday, the 11th of April, RMS Titanic began her 5,360-kilometre journey to New York City. She was due to arrive in the early hours of Wednesday, the 17th of April, but with calm ocean conditions and good weather, it was possible she could arrive early on Tuesday evening instead. The night of the 14th of April was moonless, and a light fog was developing on the horizon. Titanic's captain, Edward Smith, had received a number of ice warnings during the day, and had changed their course so they were further south to avoid the affected areas. The captain retired to bed, and First Officer William Murdoch took charge of the bridge as officer of the watch. Titanic steamed ahead until 11:40 p.m, when the lookouts Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee spotted an iceberg directly ahead. Fleet rang the warning bell 3 times to indicate an obstacle ahead and phoned the bridge. Murdoch gave the order, hard a starboard, and the ship turned to port, but it was too late. Titanic struck the iceberg on her starboard side. The impact buckled hull plates and sheared rivets, revealing her first 6 compartments to the ocean. As the iceberg slid down the side of the ship, Murdoch ordered a hard a port, swinging a Titanic stern out of the path of the iceberg. He also closed the watertight doors, isolating the flooding to those damaged compartments. The forward 3 hatches, along with the peak tank and boiler rooms 5 and 6, were breached. After the collision, RMS Titanic stopped and almost immediately took a starboard list. The captain organised a group to inspect the damage and ordered the carpenter, John Maxwell, to sound the ship. Chief designer Thomas Andrews knew the volume of each breached compartment and calculated that the initial flooding rate was around 15,000 tonnes within the first 40 minutes. With this information, he estimated Titanic would sink within 90 minutes. He then informed the captain, who then ordered the officers to begin preparing the lifeboats. All free seamen were sent up to the boat deck to begin pulling the covers off the lifeboats and to collect lanterns, blankets, food and water for the passengers. Passengers were woken by their stewards and told to put on their life belts and head up to the boat deck. Titanic carried just 20 lifeboats, 4 more than required by the regulations outlined by the British Board of Trade. There were 14 regular wooden lifeboats, 2 smaller cutters and 4 Engelhart collapsible boats. The total capacity of these lifeboats was only 1,178 people, far less than the total on board. This fact must have weighed heavily on the captain's mind, as he specified the boats to be filled with women and children first. Just over an hour after the collision, the first lifeboat left the sinking ship. To convince women to leave, officers tried assuring them it was only a precaution, that they would be back on board by daylight. First Officer Murdoch filled the starboard side, while Second Officer Charles Lightoller filled port. The officers interpreted the captain's women and children first order differently, with Murdoch putting men into the boats after all the women and children near the boat had entered. Lightoller, on the other hand, only allowed women and children to enter the boats and refused all men and boys over 14 years old. By 1:45 a.m, Titanic was down by about 5 degrees to the head, with the forecastle almost underwater. Panic began to rise through the passengers still on deck as they watched boat after boat launch. A few male passengers were physically removed from stern portside lifeboats 14 and 16, and 5th Officer Harold Lowe warned other men not to approach by firing his pistol into the water below. The situation at the starboard bow was similar, with a group of men storming collapsible sea. Murdoch fired his pistol twice to warn them to move back from the lifeboat, and they were dragged out by other male passengers. A large group of third-class women and children took their place, along with a few seamen and the owner of White Star Line, Joseph Bruce Ismay. In the radio room, Titanic's Marconi operators were desperately communicating with nearby stations and ships. Throughout the night, senior operator Jack Phillips worked the 5-kilowatt Marconi wireless radio set to send out distress signals using both the old CQD and new SOS call codes. He alerted nearby ships to their position and status, and received updates of ship locations and estimated arrival times. Junior operator Harold Bride took these updates to Captain Smith and passed the captain's responses back to Phillips for transmission. RMS Carpathia radio operator Harold Cotton was off duty and about to go to bed when he decided to listen in to the nightly news from Cape Cod. Operators there mentioned they had ice warnings for Titanic, and Cotton decided to pass on the message. He was surprised when Phillips responded to his call with a CQD and gave Titanic's location. Cotton immediately took the message to Carpathia's captain, Arthur Rostron, who ordered all hands on deck and told Cotton to let Titanic know they were on their way. As the water reached the boat deck, the operators left their station, with Bride heading towards the port bow and Phillips to the starboard stern. Murdoch and 6th Officer James Moody were standing on the starboard side, loading collapsible A into the davits. Lightoller was on the officers' quarters rooftop, removing collapsible B, when the bridge suddenly ducked under the surface. Waves washed over the decks, carrying people and the collapsible lifeboats into the ocean. The forward funnel collapsed at its base, with the resulting wave crushing the starboard bridge wing and those swimming in the water nearby. The stern rose out of the water, peaking at an angle of around 15 degrees. This placed stress on Titanic's keel, which buckled and twisted, tearing the ship in half and sending the waterlogged bow plummeting to the ocean floor. The tear wasn't clean, with decks failing to hold on in varying positions. The stern, now rapidly filling with water, bobbed on the surface for a few minutes before slipping under. RMS Titanic was carrying an estimated 2,208 passengers and crew, with only 712 surviving the disaster. Those who survived spent the night floating in darkness until RMS Carpathia arrived around 4 a.m. Captain Rostron had pushed the Cunard liner to break her speed record, but it wasn't enough. Titanic had sunk before Carpathia arrived, and they found 20 lifeboats at Titanic's location. Unfortunately, the exact number of victims is unknown, as there were many last-minute ticket purchases and cancellations, and that documentation was lost along with the ship. Of the 1,317 known passengers, over half were travelling third class or steerage as it was known. These passengers couldn't access the boat deck without entering second class or crew areas, meaning many were unaware how to get to the lifeboats and escape the sinking ship. First and second class passengers had no issues making their way to the boat deck, as staircases provided both classes direct access. Many expeditions to find and raise the wreck were proposed over the years, with the exact location of her wreck being unknown. Titanic's coordinates sent out in distress on the night of the accident had been incorrect. On the 1st of September 1985, a Canadian-French team were searching the area when Dr. Robert Ballard came across some small debris. He followed the trail which led him to a boiler and eventually the wreck. His discovery confirmed suspicions that Titanic had in fact split, and there was no hope of raising the wreck as a whole. Scientists and historians have long argued for and against the recovery of artefacts from the site, with many agreeing the site should be treated as a mass grave. Although it's predicted Titanic's wreck will disintegrate within the next 20 years, her story will intrigue generations to come.